Hi everyone, Luis Talavera. I want to talk to you about this recent um, Freight Waves article and talks about BMO's third quarter numbers and talks about their allowances, talks about write offs. And while the allowances increased from 305 million in the second quarter to 424 million in the third quarter, while that's important and while that is showing that yes, the transportation industry is in a bad place right now, and there's you know the transportation industry is hurting. What I do want to talk to you about is the write-offs, right? So write-offs in the third quarter were 47 million compared to the 51 million in the second quarter. While and the main thing to remember is this. I'm gonna show you guys what I've been talking about for a couple of years now, or maybe a year and a half now. So we had an excess of authorities during the pandemic, right? So as you guys can see, prior to August 2020, there used to be an average of 199 authorities that were being added to the market. But from August 2020 to September 2022, that number changed to 1,124 authorities, right? So what that gave us was an estimated excess of 63,000 authorities over what was the, let's call it the average, right? Or the normal absorption that the market would take in authorities. Some of them would leave, but we had a pretty straight, um, I guess, growth that was very gradual, and then we have this excess, right? So a couple of things happened. One, we had a lot of authorities, and I think that one of the major issues that happened in 2024 was the subsidy of transportation cost. And what I mean by that is that, imagine this: 2024 comes around, you have 63,000, or you had not quite the 63,000, but you might have 40 some thousand authorities that were still, in the market. And what happened was that, imagine that those authorities that, were used to good times, that were not running a very efficient operation, and then all of a sudden they're struggling to get freight, and now they're seeing they're going to the load board, and they're willing to take any rate whatsoever, right? um, but guess what happens? They're still got to pay their fuel. They're still got to pay the drivers. They somewhat got to pay maintenance, right? They got to pay. They're not doing a lot of you know I guess preventive maintenance. They're just paying for tires and whatever they need to. But what they're not doing is they're not making their lease payments or their truck payments, right? So out of that cost structure that we're seeing right now we have a subsidy of 33 cents, right? So that's why the market gets all crazy, and that's why we see a lot of carriers taking freight that's absolutely unprofitable, freight that beyond the shadow of a doubt, there's no way that you can make any profit on it. Why? Because now they're not making their loan payments, right? And that's why the rates, in my opinion, right, in my humble opinion, that's why we had rates that were below break even in 2024. So why is this good news, seeing that there were 47 million write-offs? Well, because I think that lenders previously And I think it takes a while, right? I mean, it takes a while for you. Somebody might fall on default. There might be some negotiations. There might be some, somebody's going to take that loan and is going to put it in a workout department, meaning that people are going to try to re-amortize the debt, and they're going to try to work with the trucking company to see how they can make things work. But I think that happened in the first quarter of 2024. I think that happened first quarter 2024. We're seeing the second quarter of 2024 where we're seeing that spike in write-offs, and then in this third quarter, while we're not seeing the same numbers as the second quarter, we're still seeing write-offs nonetheless, right? Which, to give you context, those write-offs, if we look previously, you know, prior quarter, first quarter, 26 million, the prior quarter, 19, prior 18, prior 6 million, right? So write-offs of 41 million is a significant amount compared to the previous years. Now, while this might be concerning or bad news, I think that it's what it's actually going to do is going to stop subsidizing that is going to stop creating an artificially um, low, or let's call it a subsidy that creates that artificially low rates, right? Because now some trucking companies decided not to take about, let's call it about 14% of their total costs, right? So that's more or less what it accounts to. But those 33 cents, they can now, they have some margin to take on um, less profitable rate. So while I think that the transportation industry is not, it's not, might not be completely over the hump, or it's not like we're gonna see the pandemic days, or we're gonna see sunny days, just next week. But I think that things are fixing themselves, if if that phrase kind of summarizes things. I think that some authorities have exited the market. I think that those authorities that were holding on and that were running, that were running below cost because of the subsidy. And I'm not saying that it was one bank in particular, right? I mean, it's pretty much the whole banking industry that was dealing progressively with this issue. But I think that those banks are not now taking action. I think that now we're seeing a shifting of the industry where some of that capacity is going, to the more, I guess, to the more efficient companies. So I think overall, I think this is good news. And that's it. Just my 2 cents. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.